Let's go back to the issue of the People's Assembly. Now that it is not an ODM affair, but a NASA issue. Now that it has been suspended, was this expected? Because the members of the People's Assembly Committee, coordinating committee, come from all the constituent parties of NASA. So that pronouncement yesterday by David Ndii that they're suspending the People's Assembly process, did it get you by surprise?
Not at all, because as I said, this again is a clear show and a display of the strength of ODM or Raila Odinga in the NASA coalition. That even as the negotiations or meeting was going on with the other principals, there was dissolution of the People's Assembly. So clearly this one shows that this was a Raila initiative. And again, it shows that the position the other trio hold in the NASA coalition. And in all fairness, we should agree that it is Raila Odinga that has put the coalition together. But then again, this was a political move. The People's Assembly was more or less like a kind of a momentum thing that will put supporters of Raila Odinga, you know, together in motion, that there is something that is going on behind the scenes. So now that the meeting had, you know, the meeting brought forth...
Are you saying it was not a genuine push?
It was a genuine push by political, you know, it's more or less political. You see, even the meeting, Raila Odinga meeting with Uhuru Kenyatta is political. So we are not privy to the discussions. But with the latest developments, there is much that meets the eye. There is a lot that probably could have been discussed. And I'll not be surprised again. I am not saying that is what is going to happen. I'm not saying that Raila Odinga has, you know, joined Jubilee. But I'll also not be surprised even next time we hear of a coalition government appointment from the the opposition side. I'll not be surprised, because there could be much that meets the eye.
Should we expect
No. I am not an authority. I need to be clear here. I am not an authority to NASA affairs. I am not an authority.
The question we are asking now, what next? We are seeing the People's Assembly being suspended, the process itself being suspended. There's already talk from the senator here that ODM has joined the majority side in Parliament. But what next should we expect?
When the person we are waiting for to utter one word, and mostly on a political rally, is Raila Odinga. All the others who are complaining about the meeting, you know, reading statements, and with all due respect to Honorable Musalia Mudavadi and the rest, those aside, the statement we are waiting for is from Raila Odinga. It will take this country to another political direction. And Uhuru Kenyatta. In a public rally.
Is there a possibility of what he has mentioned, that some people within the opposition could get positions in government? That probably that is what we should expect, because previously Jubilee was saying that NASA, they only want dialogue towards power sharing. Now that there's been a semblance of dialogue, a semblance of discussion, should we expect that there will be some sort of government jobs to be given to the opposition?
No, I doubt. I think Mr. Raila Odinga has been quite clear that he does not want to join government and probably obtain some seats.
So you agree he's not joining government?
Well, no, he may have some form of collaboration. Yes, he may support our agenda in Parliament, but in terms of, let's say, procuring cabinet positions, no. In any event, which positions? Currently, we have a cabinet that is almost full. It's only one slot, to the best of my knowledge, that is not yet filled up. So therefore, how do you then start the process of kicking out those who are already sitting in those positions? Number two also, we on the part of the Jubilee government, we feel our government is functioning well. The only reason Uhuru may have reached out for Mr. Raila Odinga is to create that notion of national unity. Yes, we concede that Raila has some quite substantial support in the country, but on the other hand, the government is functioning, the state is functioning. So to that extent, I don't foresee us agreeing to any proposal for a so-called grand coalition government. I think that was a promise that was made by Uhuru Kenyatta during campaign to the supporters of Jubilee. It's also something that was also restated by His Excellency William Ruto in several meetings that he had during the campaign period. So for now, maybe just something informal, or even if it was to be formalized, something that is just going to make everyone feel included in our government. But I don't foresee major structural change in the structure of our government.
Okay. Going back to the issue of People's Assembly.
Yeah. Thank you. And in Ndimuli, I want to clarify by saying that the issue of People's Assembly was not just a Raila Odinga initiative. This was an initiative by all the NASA principals. It is something which was accepted at the summit level, and there's that element of ownership. And that's why you saw in the respective counties from where our party leaders come from, Bungoma, Kakamega, Machakos, Siaya, even in Kilifi, all these motions went through the county assembly and they were passed. And ordinarily, when a motion has passed through the parliament, it's supposed to go into its implementation. And the imports of this particular motion was to handle matters of inclusivity, matters of electoral justice, and this is what the documentation has shown between Raila Amolo Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta. This is to show that whatever the imports, the objects of that particular motion are now being advanced or advocated by the two leaders. And to me, the issue of withdrawing this, I don't know in what forum this was discussed, but I highly suspect maybe they discussed it under the summit, and maybe the summit gave an okay.
But it was announced, the announcement was made even before, as a meeting in Stony Earth was still underway.
Absolutely.
So the summit had not given
that's why I'm saying,
that.
I'm assuming maybe it was discussed, maybe informally. You know, before even you go for that discussion, we have those informal communications, because Ndi cannot just come up from nowhere and be the one to announce. You know, when you look at the NASA has structures, and structures must be respected, particularly when it comes to the parliamentary group and the respective necks of the respective parties. So as far as I'm concerned, Ndi has no powers whatsoever, you know, when it comes to parliamentary matters. Him as a technocrat, you're supposed to do the work of technocrat work and all that. But now when it comes to communication outside, we have clear leadership structure. For instance, when it comes to NASA, we have our respective chairs, where each political party has sent one. We have James Orengo, Mheshimiwa Eseli from Ford Kenya, we have Mudama from Wiper, and we have Bunyasi from the ANC. This is the clear structure of leadership. They are the ones to communicate, not Ndi to come out and do the communication. So really, this
such kind of a communication should have come from the top.
Absolutely, because it must be discussed under the summit. Then the summit must be the one to give a go-ahead for these respective chairs to do the communication.
So what do you think will happen next in NASA? Now that we are seeing such things happen, the People's Assembly Committee coming out,
in NASA, we might have our own teething problems like any other party. For instance, when it comes to such things like communication, I didn't expect Ndi to be the one to come out and communicate, because we have a clear leadership structure, both in the political parties. When it comes to parliament, we are part and parcel of that leadership, as far as the PG is concerned. And also we have respective chairs. I expected Orengo, Eseli, Mudama, and Bunyasi to be the ones communicating, but not Ndi. So some of these teething problems are some of the issues that maybe bring some of small issues here and there, which as a coalition we are trying to sort out. But I can see it's not even a threat as such. And I want to assure you that NASA is strong, NASA is together, and we are determined to provide oversight to this Jubilee government. And I don't think the discussions between Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta and Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga touched on the issue of ODM moving to the other side of the coalition. Maybe something I thought we should mention about this issue of Maina Wanjigi, Jimmy. I read yesterday in 411 that after this meeting of Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta and Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga, that all the cases against Jimmy Wanjigi and the father have been withdrawn. This is to tell you, I think what Jubilee government has been doing is not proper. That means maybe they never had any grounds why they were frustrating Jimmy Wanjigi. Because really, for you to, it's to me, it is intimidation. And this is something proven now, that the Jubilee government wants to intimidate, blackmail people without any ground. Yeah, so Jimmy, I think, has been frustrated, and for you to come here and say we are doing this because of ABCD, I think is not proper. And lastly, I looked at this document. Kenyans lost lives. They lost property. We want to see a framework on how are these people who lost lives during the protests, how are they going to be compensated? To me, that's very, very important. Okay. We lost lives. People lost lives. People lost property. So my car was hit. We had tear gas all over, you know. So these issues of the anarchy that was there, you know, we need to know. Somebody must be held accountable for this.
Bonosoro, you wanted to add something?
Yeah. I wanted a little bit to disagree with my leader in the House, the Honorable Chris. With all due respect in regard to the People's Assembly, we had a technical team that was in charge of the assemblies. And it was headed by Ndi, we've got Dr. Noah Kala and several other people. They traversed every county that is affiliated to NASA, convincing people to vote for, convincing members of the county assembly to vote for the People's Assembly. And the Honorable Chris wasn't part of that team. So clearly, it's an authority. When Ndi speaks, take it as an authority. There is no People's Assembly. There is no other summit that is going to be discussed to talk about People's Assembly. And it should also be very clear. And again, this was an idea, just like the swearing in. This was an idea pushed by one part of the coalition, by Raila Odinga. Okay. I mean, it should be clear to other NASA principals. We appreciate, and personally, I respect them a lot. But the problem I have is that the problem there is. They contributed a lot to the August 8th elections, and that one we support. But after then, they've contributed completely nothing to the NASA coalition. And this I say with a lot of respect. I mean, even coming to swear in and bringing a lot of stories, they refused when some of them, when our security details were withdrawn because of our presence at the Uhuru Park. The MPs, for Kenya MPs, were not there. The ANC MPs were not there, and the others, and the Wiper MPs. So clearly, these people have not really contributed much to the NASA coalition. And as at now, I'll say, just like I said that there is a question, this meeting brings question to William Ruto. The meeting by Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta will also raise queries on the existence of NASA, one, and two, the 2022 succession by the trio. They are going to, that's why they are confused. On where the direction.
I think I need to clarify what I mentioned. Maybe Honorable Soro didn't get clearly. And Honorable Soro knows I'm his leader, and I want him to go read the 48 laws of power. So that next time we're not here. So
on this part,
what I had, that's on a light touch. That's on a light touch. On a serious note, we have a technical team. The technical team, they do their work backdoor. But when it comes to communication, you bring it to the leadership to communicate. That's what I had said.
I agree.
And that's why I expected Dr. Ndi, whatever they did, they do it. But bring it to the Mudama, Orengo, Eseli, and Bunyasi to be the one to do the announcements.
Yes,
so it was just an issue of clarification.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, my comment is, in this country, we only have about 3 leaders who have support and networks beyond their ethnic groups. I agree, Raila Odinga does have that. Uhuru Kenyatta does have that. The other that person is William Ruto. You rarely see, for instance, let's say a person like Musalia Mudavadi.
You want to tell me Musalia, Wetangula, and Kalonzo, they don't have?
Show me, for instance, one single, let's say, for instance, one single Costarian MP who supports the cause of Musalia Mudavadi. Show me one Northeastern member of parliament who supports the cause of Wetangula. Show me just one. But for William Ruto, for instance, those of us who come from Central Region are strongly vouching and rooting for him to become the president of this country come 2022. And by the way, you are not only talking of Central Province region. He has a lot of network in Northeastern, people like Duale. He has a lot of network in places like Coast.
So for it doesn't really matter that the other 3 principles in NASA.
So the point is, yes, the point is, I can tell you, Wetangula and this other guy called who? Kalonzo and Musalia, their political base is only restricted to a certain region. They don't have a national network. No, it is a fact. No, show me one single member of parliament, for instance, whoever talks anything concerning Musalia Mudavadi. One, not two, one. There's no one. No one in a TV or even in a vernacular radio station. I've never heard. So the point is, we must appreciate. There's some people who are more powerful than the rest. And I can tell you, in that coalition, their coalition, there's only one powerful person. In our coalition, we have 2.
There is one.
No, like now me, I vote for Ruto. It's a fact. So the point is, show me. And I don't come from Rift Valley, do I?
Let's listen to one.
So give me an example.
So as I told you, Honorable Ng'ang'ata says he didn't even expect to get that particular position in the Senate. And he has just confirmed.
He wanted to be Deputy Speaker of the Senate.
Yeah. He got it courtesy of the DP. And you know, in my community, there's a saying which says, when somebody is entertaining people, you know, he'll praise you depending on how much motivation you give that particular person. So he's just confirming. You know, when you try to operationalize people's, let me say, the networks, one of the, if you operationalize that, you'll be able to know like what number of maybe MPs or MCAs have been elected in their particular party. For example, Wiper, the commissioner who has just been given from Nyanza, in Nyamira, he's on a Wiper party. Wiper party has members of parliament all over. Coming to ANC, for heaven's sake, he might not be aware because of excitement. ANC, for the Kenya, they have members of parliament. We have members of parliament from Tana River. Are you saying Wetangula doesn't have networks in Tana River? When you go even to Meru, Ford Kenya, we have even MCS, including your own Murang'a County.
No, which one?
Ford Kenya has even offices and
no, show me 1